So Bjorn, you worked as a project manager for multiple different companies, and you've dealt with a lot of engineers to the contracts. Can we discuss some of your experiences with engineers to contracts?
Yeah, sure. It's an interesting one, eh?
I know it's an interesting one, eh? I don't know. I just thought I'd wing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's your thoughts on what do you mean by my thoughts on them? As in,
what some of your experiences working with engineers to contracts, and let's talk about how those engagements have gone.
I think
With examples, if you can.
Yep. I think one of the things that I've found, and when you go to the PCGs and you've got the engineers to the contract there, some of them are just really there to tick a box for the client, and are good at doing that. Others are really sort of want to dig in and question how things are going on site and why things are the way they are and what the impacts are, and take that approach. So I think it's really about finding where they fit as far as are they really valuable on some of the smaller projects? Is there a dollar value that we should be aiming to have an engineer to the contract on? I know that a lot of it's for the government projects to have the arm's length thing to make sure that they've got an independent checking over it before the money's released, which makes sense. But at the end of the day, there's just another layer in, another cost that potentially, if you've got good in-house QSs and CAs and project managers directly with the government organisation that has the contract, they should be able to potentially approve a lot of that themselves and directly.
Are you talking about KO?
Well, KO is one that I've worked on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got to make sure that taxpayer dollar in that sense is not getting wasted.
Yeah.
But in the other sense, they've also, they do have a place, but I don't know whether it's as much as they've been utilised at the moment. Because some of those people that are in that space, the consultants and the engineer to the contract, some of them might actually, could be in the industry deployed in other areas that could be quite handy, both client side and contractor side, without having that sort of their own little slice of the pie in a build process.
So you reckon that's a layer of bureaucracy that we could avoid?
Yeah, I'm always for less bureaucracy. I think in New Zealand we've got a lot of red tape for a small place.
But the new revision of the contract proposes that you have an ETC and an independent verifier, I believe. Have you?
No, I
read the
haven't heard about that yet. So you could give us the update.
I can't remember the full update on the top of my head, but there is another added layer of bureaucracy. I don't know if it's an added layer of bureaucracy, but there's two independent parties now. So there's an independent assessor or verifier. I'm not exactly cut that bit out. I'm not sure what I exactly said. Fuck. So there's two parties, which is
the ETC plus another set of consultants to
independent certifier to then for your cost claims and for your time claims.
Yeah, I don't know if that doesn't really make sense.
Read the proposed amendments.
Yeah.
I think it's called DZ3910.
Yeah.
If you just search up DZ3910.
But our government is very keen to always add more legislation. So, they have historically been pretty keen. I think sometimes the industry needs to push back and just try and say, look, what's practical here?
How do we do that though as an industry? Like,
well, I think
what are the mechanisms to do that?
Well, first of all, I think we've got to start by analysing the risk. What is the risk if something goes wrong here at this, with this project and with this contract, and what's the dollar value at stake and all that sort of stuff. So I think it could be done by just literally by financial bands. Anything under 10 million doesn't require, that extra layer sort of thing. Anything over 10 maybe. There's just ideas, but I don't think we need to just be creating layers for layers' sake. And that's just a thought.
Interesting.
What do you think? Do you think we should be having extra layers in there, Andy? From a planning point of view, how do you plan that all in? And, we've already got enough meetings running jobs as it is.
I have very strong views.
Oh, we'll share them, Andy. Come on. Don't be shy.
have you seen my previous podcast? I'm just
Yeah,
like,
we're both going to end up having to have our faces blurred out, you know. Make some of the comments where you're taking this.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see a world where we utilize AI more and cut through all the fucking red tape, right? Use better digitalized technology, use of 3D models as centroids of your project, and get to quicker decision making.
Yeah.
Some of the key problems I think we have in New Zealand are we think it's okay to not make a decision until we have all the right information. But I strongly believe indecision is the worst decision you can ever make.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen it cost so many businesses, both on the contractor side and on the client side, a lot of money when a decision can't be made. And
It's not it can be made. We refuse to make decisions in a timely fashion, or just make the fucking call.
Yeah.
Put everything on the line. It's okay. Because the amount of time you waste in not making a decision is insane.
Well, if you were to add up all of the pauses on a job for just variations alone, and you were to look at that downtime, and I'll just take just a round figure, say you're doing 10 units at a $10 million build cost, apartment building, and you end up with 10 variations, and each variation you stop the job for a week, you know? I mean, at 10 variations, that's 10 weeks. It's almost 3 months.
That's a very simplistic view.
Yeah, but almost 3 months of the year if someone hasn't been able to make a call or doesn't have the license to make the call.
And and it's the amount of times you've got to replan your resources, reschedule.
Well, that's right.
Everything on site. And,
you know,
it's interesting.
And with certain skilled trades, you know, there's only so many in Auckland. You know, we're the biggest city yet. We've still got finite resources. You know, when you think about specifics, you're talking, you know, things like intermittent paints. Imagine putting that out and then losing your spot in a queue, and that could have a knock-on effect. That's been one that I've had in the past. Structural steel's been another one. Waterproofing membranes and being able to do those.
Doors.
Doors, fire doors.
Doors are a big issue now, aren't they?
You know, I mean, fire doors. I mean, I was booking. We essentially, you got to put your order in off the plans, and so your frames can't be wrong because.
Yeah, I think lead time for door procurement's about a year and a half now.
Yeah, basically, you sign the contract and your QS has to have the purchase orders the next day.
Yeah, for your doors, for sure. It's crazy.
So for quite a few items. So, you know, when you think about it, those you're right, making a decision in that case is really important. And then having, you know, I'd like to see more companies kind of back their site teams a little bit. You do find that, you know, the guys on site, when they get, you know, slapped over the wrist too many times, you know, for making calls, or whether it be from the QS team or from construction managers or directors, you know, the guys get gun shy, and then, you know, that doesn't help the project either.
Interesting. Yeah. Cheers for your opinions on that, man. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Amy.